Okay, here's the furnace. I believe mine's 4 by 4.5 by 6 foot inside. And that's that silicone you can see everywhere. These are your metal studs. I did beef it up. I took some 14 gauge and put a lot of all the screws for putting tin on. I put them on there, and I put a little tack weld on too to kind of reinforce it. This 24 gauge ain't much. You can also take on these door on the ends, and right here where your latches and hinges go on the other side, on this last stud, and double up on it with another stud. This gaskets I put in with the screws that I used for the whole thing. I didn't rivet, it takes too long. I got the self-tapper Phillips screws in my drill, and they just screw right in here. I did have this set up. I had a blower on here originally when I told you it was electric, but I decided to go the other route. Here's where my wires come out for my lights. That's that high temperature wire. I just added onto them. And I used the foil tape, like from heating foil back, to do some of the seams. All of it screws. Like I said again, I took some 14 gauge and reinforced this so it have a little bit more support. Do what you want. Up here I just rigged up some brackets. I just cut some L brackets, put the little hinges. This is a piece of a hog panel I had laying outside. It's full of hose. I just hung it up here because most of my stuff I just take here and hang, and I can hang it anywhere. The way mine comes in is right there. And I just silicone that in on the inside and out. There's no screws holding it. That silicone will hold everything you want to put on there. That's that little 7-inch pipe, I believe it is. And it was rigged up, like I said originally. I had elements on the side and I took them off. And the heat was supposed to go through here, and it went up through the wall. It's hollow right here and out. Or the blower blew it down, I'm sorry. The blower outside blew it down and blew out in here. And I had to block all that off when I changed it. I got my thermostat here. This is thermocouple you don't get with that deal. I sent that link from Amber or Auburn, what do you call it? You don't get this with that PID controller. So you got to have that to test it. I put the silicone all in the cracks. This here is porcelain. You got to make sure these are porcelain. Plastic ones you buy will melt. And these are just regular 40-watt light bulbs for appliance. There's my window. I just kind of rigged it up. I cut it off with my plasma cutter out of the oven. I left the oven frame around it. And look on the outside here. You can kind of see I just kind of rigged it. I'm able to look in there and watch the stuff. You know, when it's cooking, it starts turning colors and I start my timer. But this little wheel here just works wonders. That thing, I just push it by hand and it just... Because what the deal is, that door is so heavy and there's no reinforcement in here to mount the thing. I did the same thing here. I took some strips of 14 gauge and cut them out. Put my hinge, I got 5 hinges on mine. I kind of might overdid it, but I want it to last. I see a lot of the doors are sagging on the ground. I don't want that. My floor, I put a piece of 3/8 in it. And when you build this with your studs, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 studs across here. So, you know, if you're walking in here, if you just got 20 gauge, all this is 20 gauge also on the walls, 20 gauge steel. You might be able to get galvanized, might be cheaper, but it's all 20 gauge. I should have built mine 4 by 4 by 6 from the outside measurement, but when I did it from the inside, it messed everything up. I had to add to everything. Those strips, I was not thinking it cost me more than metal, because metal comes in 4-foot wide strips. The seal right here, they don't close perfectly. You can see a crack right there. That's all right, because like I said, I only got a 3-4 inch hole right here for the exhaust to blow out, and it also blows out around here a little bit. You don't want to be tight, so you know, I'm not worried about it at all. These little clamps here, they just go on there and pull back, and there's 2 of them. So, and next to you can still see a little bit of crack there. It's nothing to worry about. I got house insulation here that you don't have to use that wool. The site I seen when I built this, they said don't waste your money on it. This will work. I put my little gun on here the other day, and it only showed 67 degrees on the outside when I was using it. My heater sits here on the floor. I laid it on the floor, shoved it up there, and marked around it to know where my pipe need to go. And I just cut off a short piece. I can pull this back. There you go, you can see inside. There's 2 layers inside this. And this pipe right there goes in between both of them. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's 2 layers. There you can. The pipe goes in between here. There's only about 3 inches sticking out. I just stick it up there. I adjusted my height here where it's flat. I turn my gas on. I got this rigged up. It's plugged in the wall here. This feeds the control box here. And when I flip this switch on, that gives everything power. It gives this PID controller power, and it turns this switch on. So I just got my heater plugged into this light switch I put on here. So this, when I set it at 400 degrees, it will build up to 400 degrees, shut off. It goes down like 10 degrees, 15, it kicks back on. All it does is kick this off and on. Just try and make it simple as I can. I just got a light switch. This box already had a toggle switch in it. It's a 6x6x4. I might have told you wrong. Like I said, 4x4x6. It's just an electrical box. That PID worked really good in there. And all I gotta do is flip this switch. Let me see. I got it shut. All I gotta do is flip this switch. It comes on. It's 37 degrees in here right now. Controller comes on. And when it calls the heat off, it just shuts it down. There's no gas coming out or nothing because of that gas control. I'm turning off and on manually here now, but I'll just leave it on. And like I said, it will build up the temperature real quick. Like, it's cold out here tonight. Normally it jumps right on up there, but it don't take too long here. A buddy of mine's got the same setup, and he said he got 40 hours out of that little 20-pound bottle worth of cooking. And I use a lot of the different brands. This one here says 10 minutes at 400 degrees. Most of all these are the same, all these different colors. I got the Eastwood gun, I love it. It's just a dual stage. It's set up here. You got to have an extra ground outside in the ground, a ground rod. I got this yellow wire is my extra ground wire, and it ties on up here to the ground when I hang stuff. This is a little booth I made. It ain't much, but this stuff is free. Got it out of when we build a hog barn, it's extra. But this stuff washes off these. I never did wash it. I just didn't want the powder to stick to it. Cheap again, just a fan. I just put hinges and stuff on it, a little seal around it. Same way, I got a light switch here, it powers this. This light switch powers this. This is for my lights in here. And this one here, and I turns this fan on, which filters the air, plus it turns my gun on at the same time. And I just made a filter holder. Nothing fancy. It sure works out really good. But that's about it. Like I said, the oven works really good. The exhaust comes out here. I don't know what else I need to show you. That's the heater that you want. The one just like it. We're up to close to 300 degrees already. I'm going to shut it off. No sense of wasting gas, but that's all there is to it. One flip of a switch, and I do have a wiring diagram I made here somewhere. I'll have to find it. Hope this helps you.